This week on the Texas Sports Hall of Fame podcast, we have part one of the Lone Star Luncheon with Mack Brown and Vince Young. Enjoy.
We'll be right back to the Texas Sports Hall of Fame podcast after this message from our sponsors.
This episode is presented by the Hampton Inn Waco. When you come to Waco, be sure to stay at the Hampton Inn Waco. Located just a short distance from the Texas Sports Hall of Fame, you'll start your day off with a delicious complimentary breakfast, and you'll also enjoy the Hampton Inn's free Wi-Fi, fitness center, and pool. Next time you suit up and bring your team to Waco, make the Hampton Inn Waco your home base on the road.
Now back to the Texas Sports Hall of Fame podcast.
You ready to hear some national championship stories? You know, that Rose Bowl win was one of those things where you remember exactly where you were when that game happened, right? How many of you remember where you watched the game? You were at the stadium or where you were, right? I was on a cruise ship with my wife, going from Galveston to Mexico, had an 80-foot wide screen. And I loved watching that game. My wife found out the guy sitting next to us on the deck was the guy who started the California Pizza Kitchen, and so she spent the entire first quarter trying to talk him into putting a restaurant in Waco. I said, honey, let him watch the game. Well, by the fourth quarter, he was ready to talk about putting a restaurant in because he was from L.A. and he was a USC fan. We know that worked out, didn't we? So, now that was one of those games where you remember where it was. My name is Bruce Geets, and I'm on the Board of Trustees here at the Texas Sports Hall of Fame. We are delighted to have you here, and we are honored to have our special guest here today to recount to us some of the best stories from that game that many people, including Sports Illustrated, just last week said it was the #1 college football game of all time. You agree? And this wouldn't happen without the help of our sponsors, our guests, of course, but our sponsors, the Silver Spurs Alumni Association out of Houston. Thank you. Our food sponsor, UT Golf Club, the GM Steve Tremere, head pro Greg Garner, Lisa Kaufman, UT Golf coach John Fields in his 27th year. Quite a record, so congratulations to them. Love to have them. And we've got our premium table sponsors, Sheehy Lovelace and Mayfield, Sam Brown, the CMC Auto Group, Louis Englander, George Clark, and Johnny Bledsoe. So thank you to them for the premium tables as well. All those sponsors I just mentioned will get an autographed football signed by both Mack Brown and Vince Young. At the end, you'll pick those up at the table when you leave the registration table. And we will also have a couple of, this is what the football looks like, and signed by both Mack and Vince. And then we also have some special edition caps that you'll be able to buy in the gift shop after we're done. Say on the back, Mack and Vince 20th anniversary, signed by Mack and Vince, limited edition. We only made 36 of these, and they'll be for sale in the gift shop on your way out if you're interested in picking up one of those, okay? That's a fundraiser for the museum. Ed, you need one of those, right? So we're delighted you're here. At the end of the program, we'll have a 2-item live auction of a signed UT football helmet, signed by Mack and Vince, and then a foursome of golf at UT Golf Club. And I just learned, did you know when that UT Golf Club opened, guess who the chairman of the board was at UT Golf Club? Mack Brown. Yeah. And then our sponsors will have a photo op with Mack and Vince over here at the end of the event. Special guest here, DeLoss Dodds. DeLoss, member of our board as well. DeLoss, great to see you. Always welcome here. Quan Cosby played with that Longhorn team. Quan, wave at everybody. There you are. Keith Moreland, a baseball star with the Longhorns. He's on the ballot for the 2026 induction class here at the museum. That voting ended yesterday. So we'll see. Hopefully that'll play out good for Keith. He's certainly deserving to get in. And then Chris Wheeland. Chris Wheeland played for the Longhorns. Chris here. And any other players who played for the Horns and played football, if I haven't mentioned your name, stand up, raise your hand or whatever. We want to honor you as well. There we go, down here. It's a closed fraternity for people. So welcome. All right. We also have some Southwest Conference officials from back in the days. Winky Turney, Randy Crystal, Billy Walters. You guys wave your hands. Where are you? You still throw a flag? There they are back in the back. Mack, you recognize any of those guys? First time they haven't been booed. We're happy you're here. How many of you have tennis elbow from throwing a flag up? Okay, so, yeah, we're glad you're here. Great. And then UT deep snapper Kyle Walsh is also here. There we go. And how about a round of applause for Rudy's Barbecue for the lunch today? Did you guys enjoy that food? They're based in Austin, so they big Longhorn fans, okay? Well, you didn't come to hear me speak, so let's get the featured guests up here. Our moderator today is one of the best-known sports voices in Austin. For 35 years, he started when he was 5. He has talked sports at KLBJ and is currently the co-host of the Jeff and Ed Show from 4 to 6 every weekday. He's a member of the Headliners Club of Austin and on numerous boards and podcasts. Please welcome Ed Clements. Great to see you, bud. Okay. There you go. Well, next up, at the University of Texas, he won 158 games, only 48 losses. He was the first FBS coach to win 100 games at different schools, also at North Carolina. 20 consecutive winning seasons. How awesome is that? And 18 straight bowl game appearances. The season in particular, the 2005 National Championship year and that thrilling Rose Bowl win. He's a master recruiter. He's also a first-class gentleman. Please welcome Mack Brown. Thank you, Coach. Good to see you. Thanks, buddy. All right. And now Mack was the captain of that. He was the captain of that ship. But the guy who made the Longhorns team go, in 2005, he won the Maxwell Award, the Davey O'Brien Award, the Manning Award, Consensus All-American, Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year. He won every big award in football except one. And boy, did that motivate him for that Rose Bowl game, didn't it? He made up for that slight big time at the Rose Bowl. Please welcome Vince Young.
Thank you, Bruce. Thank you so much. It is so good to be in Waco. I love the Texas Sports Hall of Fame. I'm an old Southwest Conference guy. My first football game, Southwest Conference game I ever saw was Texas versus Baylor way back in 1963 at Memorial Stadium, the Don Truell, Lawrence Elkins Day, and of course the Duke Carlisle Day, intercepting the pass in the end zone. So fond memories of Texas and Baylor. Good memories and bad memories. I was here for Grant Taft's last home game when the Bears defeated John Makovic and the Longhorns, but great rivalry. It's so good to be with two wonderful guys, Vince Young and Coach Brown, two of my favorite people. First of all, I want y'all to, first of all, I want to say they're now featured on a great new podcast called The Stampede. You can get it wherever you get your podcasts, and it is great. Great stories about their years at Texas and great insight called The Stampede. Take us back when Vince was a senior in high school. Everybody wanted him, but take us back, Coach, that first time you went to his home and your recruiting pitch to Vince Young. What was that like?
Well, welcome everybody, and thank you for coming. I know you're very busy, and it is cooler in here than it is outside. I do know that, but there's really two reasons that I'm sitting up here. One of them's the Lost Odds. If DeLoss hadn't hired me at Texas, I would not be in the Hall of Fame. I would not be considered a great coach. And if this guy hadn't signed with us, we probably wouldn't have won the national championship. Colt got close, but he got his old neck hurt on the 5th play of the game as we're starting to go. So I love Vince and all he's done, and now he's a great father, and got Jordan. I've already offered Jordan. I don't know if I'll be coaching by the time he gets old enough, but I'm the first offer. And I know his mother, so we're good. Know his dad pretty well. Vince is already talking about NIL, so I don't know. And Vince did say the other day, if we'd had NIL, Coach, I'd still be playing. So I think that probably would have been it. Vince Young, you looking for a quarterback. You're looking for a guy that makes a difference, a guy that is going to change the game. He touches the ball every time. In modern day college football, you got to have lines of scrimmage, but if you don't have a quarterback, you're not going to win all the games. And when I saw him play, and against North Shore, they're playing in state semifinals, I think, and I watched him, and he was just freakish. They couldn't tackle him. And then I saw him get mad because the defense wasn't playing well, and he started playing safety. And he looked great at safety. And then I saw him get mad and start covering kickoffs, and I said, okay, I got it. I'm all in. This is the guy that we want. He was playing with Coach Seals at Madison High School. It was in the city of Houston. There wasn't a white person in the neighborhood, and we weren't really popular at that time in Madison High School, so we had our hands full. But when I saw Vince, I knew we need to meet, we need to see our personalities and see if they match, but I knew the ability was as good as any I'd ever seen.
You remember anything special about his recruiting to your house, Vince?
Well, I was in shock because I was a guy like in high school watching Coach Brown on TV, so I'm like, we got a celebrity in the house here to, recruit me, and I don't think he understands how big my mom and my grandmother are to me. They very special to me. They raised me. I didn't have a father figure in my house, so I'm thinking like, Coach, I don't think you know what you're getting yourself into, because you got to answer to Granny and Mama.
They were tough.
Especially Granny. So, when he came in with Coach Davis, Coach Chambers, Coach Drake, may his rest in peace, Tim Brewster as well, I'm like, man, look at all these guys coming in to, bring me to one of the biggest schools on the planet. And I was excited about it. And when I had the opportunity to sit down with Coach, one of the things that I love about Coach, he's really big on manners. And I'm raised by that all of my life from my coaches, my uncles. Always say yes, sir. Always say yes, ma'am. Get your butt up. Let a woman sit there. And one of the things that I was paying attention to, like, it's a number of women in my house. So I'm like, how is he finna treat my mom and my grandmother? So we didn't have that many chairs in the house. So he made sure that my mom and my sister had somewhere to sit. And then he was respectful to the coaches, made sure that they had somewhere to sit. And then I sat on the floor, and he came and sat right next to me. I'm like, Coach, I don't know if you want to sit here. We got roaches, man. We got pet roaches. We got Al over there and Eddie over there. So
I said, Vince is good enough. I can handle the roaches. I'm good.
So, but when he did that, it just showed me the type of respect that he had for me, as well as my mother's, because, again, I loved them to death, and they raised me. So to have the opportunity, what my grandmother said to him was, we want him to play quarterback. And he told the truth. When you have a guy that step into your household and tell the truth to not only to my parents, but also to myself, he said, I'm going to give you your opportunity. And that's all I needed to hear from the coaching staff, and then everybody else was respectful. So I was grateful for the opportunity to, play quarterback, because everybody else wanted me to play wide receiver, DB, and all these things, but he knew that I wanted to play quarterback.
Never thought about any other school?
No,
Yes.
Texas.
Yes. We went through the All-Star game, didn't even sign till late.
Right.
No, that's why my hair's great.
We're here to talk about the 05 season, but you can't talk about the 05 season without talking about the 04 season, which was a wild, great season for Vince and the Longhorns. Started out that game in October, OU laid it on to the Longhorns. I think it's 12-0, and then the run started. But it took a little time. Talk about the 04. The Missouri game, I believe, was the next week in Austin, and it was not pretty. It was not, I'm sorry, Vince, I didn't need to bring this up, but it wasn't pretty.
A couple of turnovers.
It had a few turnovers, and I believe you had more receiving yards than you had passing yards that day.
Yes, I did. Sorry about that, Corn. I think I played wide receiver that day.
Yeah, but you even got benched that day for our friend Chance Mack. But then it started rolling. The next week was a game with Oklahoma State in Austin. Get this, I know George Clark was there, Jay Chersky was, a lot of people were at that game. It was 35-7. Oklahoma State had the lead with 9 seconds to play in the first half. You know, I'm preparing for the postgame show. I'm going, time to get rid of Vince. Goodbye, Mack. It was that bad. 35-7, 9 seconds left, and you threw a touchdown pass to Bo Scaife that really set the tone for the rest of the game. Talk about that pass to Bo.
Well, I mean, first of all, I don't know what it is when we play Oklahoma State. We always start like 28-7, or we always down against those guys. And
yeah, we didn't show up till halftime.
Exactly, always.
The bus was late.
Always. And, just playing that game and just trying to continue to earn the respect and the confidence from my teammates because, I wasn't a good passer. When I came out of Madison High School, we ran the veer. We ran the ball a lot. So I wasn't a good passer until towards my senior year. And then in the game, it was kind of like I got guys like Roy Williams I'm throwing the ball to, B.J. Johnson, Sloan Thomas. Like, these guys are like at the top of the list. And I'm like, I just want to be perfect for these guys. But Coach always said, man, you can't be perfect. Just go out there and play your game. So as I started to get my rhythm, man, and the confidence in myself, it was one of those drives that I know that we needed to win that game.
What did you tell them at halftime of that game when you're down 35-14 at home?
It's really interesting, and I'll try to get through this as quick as I can. When I was at Oklahoma as offensive coordinator, we played Kansas. We were the #1 team in the country, and Kansas was awful. I don't mean bad, I mean awful. And we got to Lawrence, and the only people that were in the stands were the mothers of the Kansas players. I mean, there wasn't anybody there. And it rained, and we had an hour and 45-minute delay. So our starting quarterback, Danny Bradley, was hurt. Mike Clopton's the backup quarterback. He had an academic issue, so we had this rookie that hadn't played any. It's the 7th game. His name's Troy Aikman. So he's redshirted. So we got to play Troy in the game, and he doesn't know what to do. He hadn't had a snap of practice. So we go to the game, and in the end of the first half, it's pouring the rain, and it's awful. I go in at halftime, and I'm the young offensive coordinator, and the team's sitting there. We're down 10-7. And it's probably a 33-point spread or something. We're supposed to kill them. So I walked in and said, you're awful. You're the team. I said, you stunk. We got a 3rd-team quarterback. Vince has heard some of this before. He's heard that. And I said, and you're going to get beat. You're going to get beat because you don't care. You got a freshman over here and you don't even care. And I threw a chair, and those metal chairs on those metal lockers can really sound loud. And then I said, and I'm out of here. I don't even see you want to make me throw up. So I turned around, slammed the door, and I walked out. We got beat 33-14. So we get on the plane going home, and as a young offensive coordinator, you should never leave a seat open on the plane when you've gotten beat by Kansas, especially when you're #1 in the country. So Coach Switzer comes and sits next to me. I said, okay, another mistake. So I'm having a bad weekend. It's not working. And I said, Coach, I'm really sorry. We can't do that. It's awful. It's embarrassing. It's awful offense. I'm just sorry that we did that. And he said, well, lose your 1st-team quarterback, it's hard to win. Lose your 2nd-team quarterback, you're probably not going to win with a 3rd-team quarterback. But let me tell you something. Those kids really love you, and they respect you, and they listen to you. And you told them they were going to lose, and you convinced them they were going to lose. I felt about this big. Next week, we're playing Kansas State. They're not very good. We're ahead 7-3 at halftime. He grabs me on the shoulder and says, best team's going to win as long as the game goes right. We're in great shape going into the second half. And I said, yes, sir. So leaving the field, down 35-14 against Oklahoma State with a good team. Our guys had played hard. We just didn't play good. Yeah. And they had the ball bounce off somebody's helmet, and they caught it and ran in for a touchdown. They picked up a fumble and ran in for a touchdown. So as I'm walking in, I feel Coach Switzer on my shoulder, and I said, okay, when they're down, pick them up. Pick them up. Don't beat them down. because they're already down, and if they think I'm going to panic, we're going to lose the game. So I walked in, the coaches thought I'd lost it. I said, hey, what a first half, man. Oklahoma State's playing great. They're playing so hard. They've been so lucky. We're playing hard, but we're not playing good. This is going to be the best comeback in the history of Texas football. And people are going to love you, man. They're going to love you. So coaches, go in there and tell the players how they're going to win the game. They're all looking at me like, he's absolutely lost it. There's no chair throwing. There's none. So we go in, I say the same thing to the team. I said, this is going to be so much fun. We're in a great position, and they're all looking at me like, oh, God, he's lost it. So I put on the grease board 42-35. And I said, that's going to be the final score. We go out, we beat them 56-35. I walked back in, I apologized to them for underestimating them, number one. And then the second thing, my mother was hard. She was tough. Dolores knows Mom. Vince knows Mom. She's a coach's daughter, so I always call Mom after I got through. So I had the team, I had the media, and I called Mom. And when I got Mom, she's in Tennessee, so it's about 1 in the morning. She's waiting up for her son to call. And I said, Mom, what about that halftime speech, huh? You like that? She said, if you'd had a better pregame speech, you wouldn't have had to come back like that and have a halftime speech. Facts.
Facts.
Also in 04, you had a very interesting game at Kansas. Mark Mangino was the head coach at Kansas, one of my favorite full-bodied coaches. And you got in trouble that game, too. You're down by 10 points with under 5 minutes to play.
We had 5 turnovers.
5 turnovers that day. Yes. It was a clear, crystal, beautiful day. Turnovers. Kansas was playing out of their mind. Talk about the final 5 minutes of that game, Vince, where you turned it on.
I just remember that they was about to have a basketball game, and all the kids start coming out of the basketball game gym and coming to the football field, making all that noise and getting excited, thinking that they was about to win, which it looked like they were. And we just remember like 4th and 18, you know, which is
just 4th and 18.
Yeah,
4th and 18.
Sorry about that, Coach.
Excuse me. To win or lose the game, because the clock's going to run out. So if we don't make 4th and 18, which is probably not, normally we don't have plays for 4th and 18. So if we don't make 4th and 18, they're going to take a knee and the game's going to be over, and we're going to go home losing to Kansas.
Yes, and Coach did not like that play I ran.
It was a call pass play by Greg Davis, and you dropped back, and then you didn't see anything, and then...
Well, I mean, what can you do, like he said, with 4th and 18? So, you know, all I saw was, you know, guys trying to waving their hands saying that they was open, but in my mind, I'm like, let's go get this first down. And, you know, Reed, one of the linebackers of that game, was talking smack the whole week. So me and him had our little discussion on that play right there. I got you, young man.
Yeah,
and got the first down.
Broke both of his ankles.
Broke his ankles. Texas two-step. That's what we call it.
I'm sitting there, 4th and 18. You're at Texas. You can't lose to Kansas.
No.
And I see Vince taking off. And on the sideline, I said, no, Vince, it's 4th and 18. And then he makes 3 of them fall down. Then he misses another one, and I'm saying, go, Vince, go! Great job, man. He steps out of bounds, and Vince he's got a great personality. He's humorous, and he's very confident. He's different than people thought. So on the field, he came over and said, hey, Pops, you like that?
In the midst of the play in the game, right?
And then he says, you want me to go ahead and score, or you want to kill the clock and score? And I said, hey, he said, Pops, you want me to go ahead and score? And I said, hey, smart aleck, go score. We haven't scored for an hour and a half here in the second half, so go score. And then he hits Tony Jeffrey in the end zone for the game-winning touchdown the next play, and then he says, we're good.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things that me and Coach had to fight over was that. I love Dustin Mangum. We love him. He made a lot of kicks for us, but I'm like, Coach, give me the ball, Coach. So he was looking at me like, get out of here, Vince. I'm going to kick a field goal. I'm like, Coach, I got you. So we had a couple little discussions that we can't talk too much about right now.
Did we go 4th and 18?
No. We had to go do that.
We didn't kick field goal?
Yeah, and no. Richard McGee is still mad at me for this day.
Yeah, Richmond didn't let her because the punter didn't get to punt that year.
Great comeback, beat the Aggies, and then got into the Rose Bowl to face the Michigan Wolverines. 2 classic teams. again, you get down by a bunch and you come back. And that was such a memorable game in 04. And that really, I think, propels you to the next season. Talk about the Michigan game at the Rose Bowl in 04.
Well, just going up to the game, all the history and tradition from both sides, from Texas and Michigan, and the weapons that they had on their team, from Braden Edwards to Chad Henning to Hart to Woodley, that was actually chasing me again in the NFL again. It was just a fun game, and it was at the granddaddy of them all, the Rose Bowl. So it was just a tough game, and we have to give them respect because they came ready to play. And it was not easy to play Michigan, but in the same time, we had a really good team. And what people don't understand, that our chemistry was so great that we believed in each other so much that we pulled through each time. And it took our defense making some big stops, which Coach always said is going to take the last person, the last defense to get the last stop is going to win the game. And he was so dead on with that every year. And when the games that we was behind, he was so dead on with that. So it was just all about us as a team and not worrying about everybody else. It's about us. And we did a good job of staying focused and doing that whole drive, that whole game, period.
Well, and Ed, let me say, this guy is such a fierce competitor. This guy, Quan, was such a fierce competitor. That whole team fought every day. Every day. The defense was so good, and they had so much pride, and these guys were trying to embarrass them every time they go out on the field. So it was just a fight. And Cedric Benson, who we lost 6 years ago, 2 days ago, and what a loss for all of us at such a young age, and what a fierce competitor. He's going to be drafted. We're talking about all these guys now skipping bowl games and skipping playoffs, and I don't want to play, and I might get hurt. He goes down the first series and hyperextends his knee. And the doctors are sitting there and say, I don't know if I'd play. You're a first-round draft pick. You're going to be picked soon. And Dr. Windler's here. Love you, Dr. Windler, wherever you are. Just saw you earlier. Many years of helping our guys get back out on the field. And Cedric said, tape it up, man. This is the Rose Bowl. This is Texas and Michigan. So he plays the whole game. We get through, and we win the game, and we win it on the last-second tipped field goal by Dusty Mangum, by the way.
There we go again.
Yeah, went through by about 3 inches. Yeah, Vince wanted to go for it. We had 3 seconds left. I mean, it's not like and we're right in front, so we did win the game. And usually after he would yell at me and scream at me and we'd win, he'd say, we're good, I got it. So the game's over. I talked to the team, I talked to the media, I come back in, and Cedric's the only one in the locker room. He's sitting over there by himself in full uniform. He's crying. And I said, hey, bud, you okay? And he said, yeah, I'm fine. He's wiping his face. And I said, take your helmet off. I want to see your face. And I said, what's wrong? Is it your knee? And he says, no. I said, so what's wrong? And he said, it's the last time I'll ever wear a Texas football uniform. And he said, I don't want to take it off. Now, that's passion. And that's the passion that these guys played with, and that's why we won a national championship. A lot of people had good players. These guys got it. That's why they went on the road. That's why they came from behind when they were ahead. They were confident. They weren't egotistical, but they believed in each other, and they loved to play.
05 season, the magical season, started off with a bang. Second week, a road trip to Columbus and Ohio State. Ironically, where the Longhorns start August 30th, just in a couple of weeks. Tough place to play, tough environment, and Ohio State was a really, really good team that year.
I don't know about that. No, I'm messing with you. No, they had a really good football team, man. Their defense was unbelievable. A.J. Hall, Carpenter, Whitner, I mean, all those guys, just about their whole defense went to the NFL. But, just preparing for that whole summer. So first of all, before we even get into that, the media called Mad Dog soft, right? Because we wasn't winning the big games or whatever, and we, always lose to OU or something like that. And they called Mad Dog soft. So
Mad Dog Madden was the strength coach. Who was a big son of a gun. I never would have said that. I would never told Mad Dog he's up, but yeah, Mad Dog Madden, yeah.
Yeah, and why? Because that whole offseason, Quan and McCoy, y'all can vouch for this, he took that out on us. So we had to be at practice at 6 a.m. every morning, and then that was part of one of them. Then we had to be there at 2 to do running in the heat. And so he took that stuff out on us, and then when somebody's late, that's 10 up downs. So one practice today, I think we did just about 40 up downs because the guys was late. So just imagine that, first of all, Mad Dog being mad at you and taking it out on us. So that whole entire season, we like, okay, let's get our stuff together as brothers. You know, let's make sure guys are taking their butt to summer school classes on time. Let's make sure guys are in the weight room on time. And then when it's time to go to practice, let's be committed to Coach Brown and our coaching staff. And I really feel like that whole entire offseason got us prepared for that whole entire season, because I tell the story all the time. A lot of guys came into our team meeting room kind of lackadaisical. Like, one of the things Coach Brown don't mess around with is you don't come in there with your earrings in. You don't come in slouching your chairs. He wants you to sit up, no hats and things like that. So guys came in our first team meeting in the beginning of the spring kind of just feeling themselves because we just beat, Michigan. And I'm sitting there looking like, Coach, can I say something? And I just started pointing out all the stuff that I felt Coach said he do not want in his meeting room. And I was upset because I felt like, as a leader with the rest of my guys, we needed to do something to spark these guys. And I asked them, like, hey, guys, if you guys want to go to the national championship, if y'all want to beat Ohio State, meet me on the football field at 7 p.m. And the whole team showed up. And that just showed us how committed that each and last one of us were to finishing that season, because I put the pressure on them. We would be back in the Rose Bowl game, that we wanted to go win that championship and play against a really good football team. So it took all of us that whole year to go through Mad Dog and build our chemistry together.
And I'm sorry, you think about leadership to be first time Rose Bowl, first time Texas beats Michigan. He's in the middle of the field. There's millions of people watching him. And he says, we'll be back. And I'm thinking, what's he talking about? And I'd ask him, I said, what are you doing? He said, Coach, I want it right now. So we started winning the national championship on the stage at the Rose Bowl after the Michigan game because of him. And it's really hard to be great back-to-back. But he started. Then he had to call the team out. Then he had to meet him on the field at 7. So it's that kind of leadership that led to the national championship. And that's not easy, and it's not normal, and a lot of people their age can't call their buddies out. Now, Quan was 36 when he played, because he had to leave me to go to baseball for about 8 years before he came back. So they called him Grandpa when he was in there. But that type of leadership's what led to win the national championship. It's not easy, and it's every day, and you got to create an edge every day, and that's tough.
When did you and Greg Davis decide, or if you decided this or it just evolved, let Vince be Vince on the field? Let him just be Vince? Or is that something we in the media made up?
Oh, it's something you made up. 100%. And when you said a few minutes ago, Oklahoma State game, I was wanting Vince fired. Oklahoma game, I was all right. He was one of those two.
No.
He and Jeff Ward, they were, you don't want to listen to that
Security.
stuff. I've heard it.
Security.
So, that's it.
Security, get him out of here. Security.
Yeah. Quan, will you come and host? We'll get rid of that. No, when Vince got confident enough to take over, we got out of the way. And that's what you do.
I believe it was the Missouri game that you spoke about, that me and Coach Brown and Coach Davis had to sit down and we talked. And I felt like we had an understanding of each other. I was saying, Coach, I can do more. I can do more. I can do more. And before I even got into the meeting room, they had like all my highlights of me in high school and things like that. And they said, Vince, this is who we want you to be. So I feel like from that Michigan game, and then I played in that Texas Tech game in Texas Tech, had an unbelievable game. I threw the ball well. They brought my confidence level even higher. So I commend Coach for that opportunity to sit in the meeting room and for us to have an understanding about, what I can do for the team, as well as respect for my coaches.
Yeah, it's all credit to Vince, because the Oklahoma game didn't go well. We didn't score. It's 12-0. We didn't score for the first time in 172 years, I think, in the Oklahoma game or in any game. And then the Missouri game was tough. It's hard to lose to Oklahoma and come back and play in DKR. People aren't very happy with you, and they've got good memories. So it was tough, and Missouri had a great defense, and Vince had a really tough first half. So I pulled him out. And he's wonderful because he could have shown his rear end, and he wanted to, and he was going to throw that helmet. And I said, come here. And I had to get on a stool to get up so I could talk to him so nobody could hear me. But you close your mouth and say, okay, let's hang on, let's talk tomorrow, but let's win this game. So Chance Mack came in, hit B.J. Johnson and Cedric. Cedric ran up and down the field and won the game. And the next day, Vince is right. We got in a room together and said, okay, you're feeling pressure from somewhere. I don't know, media, family, alums, I don't know. But you're not who we signed. And we did take high school video, and we said, here's who we want back. This is the guy we signed. We want you back. We took his great plays from Texas and said, this is the guy we want back. I don't know where he went. And we said, and if you don't now, we're going to have to make a change. And we said, we never promised you you'd start, but we want you to start. So he didn't practice great the next week. We're going to Texas Tech. They're 10th in the country. They've just beaten Nebraska 70-10. It's in Lubbock. They don't like us very much out there.
Tortillas.
Best I remember.
Tortillas at your head?
Tortillas on your head. And in pregame, Vince had him doing great. And I'll never forget, he was 11 for 15 for 250 yards and rushed for 250 yards. And we win the game 53-17. And he never lost another game. So it just shows you the power of confidence. And it also shows you the power of relationships. If he had gotten mad at me for pulling him out, if he'd gotten mad and did not respond well to the meeting that we were having with him, we wouldn't be sitting here. And he did. He listened. He wanted it to work. We were trying to say, we love you, but we got to do this. We got to do this better. And because of that relationship, this all worked. 30-2. He never lost another game after he killed Tech.
Much like James Street after he got in after the Tech game in his year when he won the rest of his games. Okay, we hit Lima Swede in the end zone to beat Ohio State 25-22. And the rest of the regular season, the closest game, I believe, the Aggies, 40-29. In that run, you had a win against Colorado. Then you met Colorado again in the Big 12 championship game. Don't ask Joel Klatt about that game. 70-3.
He wouldn't remember.
He wouldn't remember. That was a message, I believe, to the country that, watch out, USC. Thoughts about the Big 12 championship game against Colorado, Vince?
Well, it was great. I mean, again, having the opportunity to play in my hometown in Houston in front of all my fans and all my family members, and then as a team standpoint, like, we wanted to play the best. And, Coach said, like, do not go out here and stink it up. So we went out there and put a stump into those guys for USC to know that we were coming. And I think after we won that game, we all ran up in there inside the team in the locker room and started watching the USC game because that's what we wanted to play. We wanted to play the best. They was the two-time champions, and we wanted to make sure that we put a stamp in the dedicated that last game to letting USC know in their entire LA that we was coming for them.
We are Rogue Media Sports.